Welcome to Horrify Environment. If you are new here, you can subscribe our channel. We upload daily horror videos. Amidst the busy streets and tall skyscrapers of central London, there was a home that loomed large over the city. Known just as the Horror House, it was the location in all of London that everyone feared and avoided. Its crumbling walls were surrounded by legends, stories of horrific horrors and restless spirits that stalked its corridors. But some people were so morbidly curious to know the truth about its dark reputation that they dared to enter its abandoned rooms in defiance of the townspeople's cautions. Emma, a teenage journalist, was one of these courageous individuals. She had made it her goal to solve the secrets of the Horror House since she was passionate about learning the truth and had a strong desire for adventure. Equipped with her notebook and writing instrument, she embarked on an exploration of the mysteries concealed behind its confines. Emma felt a thrill of anticipation run down her spine as she drew closer to the terrifying facade of the Horror House. With its doors secured against intruders and its windows boarded up, the mansion was silent and menacing. Emma, however, remained unfazed, her willpower surpassing her dread as she pushed open the creaky door and entered the surrounding darkness. Emma entered and moved through the deserted hallways, the floors creaking under her boots and the air heavy with rot and grime. A deafening hush hovered over the home as shadows swirled in the flickering candles, forming twisted forms upon the walls. Emma continued, however, her curiosity pushing her forward into the Horror House's interior despite the overwhelming feeling of dread that pervaded the atmosphere. She had uneasiness that weighed heavily on her shoulders with every step, as though she were being observed by invisible eyes. Emma started to find hints as she looked around the house, pointing to the sinister past that was concealed there. She was greeted by dusty frames holding pictures of long-lost faces, their sorrowful eyes sending shivers down her spine. Old newspapers were all over the place, their headlines screaming of death and tragedy, and mysterious markings and occult sigils that alluded to sinister rites and forbidden knowledge decorated the walls. But Emma didn't learn the terrifying reality that was concealed in the Horror House's core until she happened into a secret chamber deep within the structure. An altar with a dried blood stain on its surface and flickering candles around its perimeter stood in the center of the room. Rows of empty chairs surrounded it, their inhabitants having long since disappeared into the darkness. A feeling of dread overcame Emma as she got closer to the altar, and she realized that she had discovered something far eviler than she had ever dreamed. She reached out to touch the altar's surface with quivering hands, and as her fingertips touched the chilly stone, she felt a wave of evil energy shoot through her veins. Abruptly, the smell of rotting flesh filled the air, and the shadows in the corners of the room started moving. Emma was more and more terrified as she came to understand that she was not alone in the Horror House and that something much darker was hiding there, waiting to take her soul away for all eternity. Emma let out a desperate shriek and spun away, running through the deserted hallways of the home, her pulse thumping fiercely. She knew there was no getting away from the darkness, though, for it seemed to be closing in on her, no matter how quickly she ran. Emma stopped short of the Horror House entrance for a while, breath coming in short gasps and her body shaking from sheer tiredness. She knew assistance was approaching when she heard the sounds of sirens wailing in the distance, but just as she was about to go, she heard a hateful, menacing voice whisper in her ear, and she realized that the Horror House would never really let her go. Emma's destiny was set, her spirit doomed to roam the Horror House's eerie corridors for all of eternity, as the sun rose above London, bathing the deteriorating walls in golden light.